Democracy in Athens. Origins and development. Classical Greece, particularly Athens, is often celebrated for the birth and development of democracy. The seeds of Athenian democracy were sown in the early 6th century BCE under the leadership of reformers like Solon. Solon's reforms aimed to alleviate economic distress and prevent civil strife by canceling debts and liberating those enslaved due to debt. However, it was Cleisthenes' reforms around 508 to 507 BCE that truly laid the foundation for Athenian democracy. He reorganized the population into 10 tribes based on residence rather than kinship, thus breaking the power of aristocratic families. Mechanisms of Athenian democracy. The Athenian democracy was a direct form of governance where citizens participated in decision-making. The main institutions included the assembly, ecclesia, the council of 500, boule, and the people's court, Heliaia. The assembly, open to all male citizens over 18, met regularly to discuss and vote on policies, war, and laws. The council of 500, selected by lot, prepared the agenda for the assembly and supervised the execution of its decisions. The people's court, also chosen by lot, handled judicial matters and could hold public officials accountable. Pericles and the Golden Age of Athens. Pericles, a prominent statesman, played a crucial role in the development and flourishing of Athenian democracy during the 5th century BCE. Under his leadership, Athens experienced a period of cultural and intellectual prosperity known as the Golden Age. Pericles introduced reforms that expanded the participation of lower-class citizens in the democratic process and initiated ambitious building projects, including the Parthenon. The Persian Wars. Causes and early conflicts. The Persian Wars were a series of conflicts between the Greek city-states and the Persian Empire in the early 5th century BCE. The origins of these wars lay in the Persian expansion into the Ionian region, where Greek city-states like Miletus were located. The Ionian Revolt, 499 to 493 BCE, supported by Athens and Eretria, marked the beginning of hostilities. Although the revolt was suppressed, it provoked the Persian king Darius I to seek retribution against the mainland Greek states. Major battles and strategies. Battle of Marathon, 490 BCE. The first major battle of the Persian Wars was the Battle of Marathon. Under the leadership of Miltiades, the Athenians, aided by a small force from Plataea, defeated the numerically superior Persian forces. This victory boosted Greek morale and demonstrated the effectiveness of the hoplite phalanx formation. Xerxes' invasion and the battles of Thermopylae and Salamis, 480 BCE. Darius I's successor, Xerxes I, launched a massive invasion of Greece in 480 BCE. The Greeks, led by Spartan king Leonidas, made a heroic stand at the Battle of Thermopylae, although they were ultimately overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the Greek navy, commanded by Themistocles, achieved a decisive victory at the Battle of Salamis by luring the Persian fleet into narrow straits where their numbers were less effective. The Battle of Plataea and Greek victory. The final significant engagement was the Battle of Plataea in 479 BCE. The Greek forces, primarily composed of Spartan and Athenian soldiers, decisively defeated the Persian army, marking the end of the Persian threat to Greece. The Greek victory in the Persian Wars preserved their independence and allowed for the flourishing of classical Greek culture. The Peloponnesian War. Causes and prelude. The Peloponnesian War, 431 to 404 BCE, was a protracted and destructive conflict between the Athenian Empire and the Peloponnesian League, led by Sparta. The roots of the war lay in the growing tension and rivalry between Athens and Sparta, exacerbated by their conflicting interests and political ideologies. Athens' transformation into a maritime empire and its dominance of the Delian League alarmed Sparta and its allies, who feared Athenian hegemony. Major phases and key events. Archidamian War, 431 to 421 BCE. The first phase, known as the Archidamian War, saw a series of annual invasions of Attica by the Spartans, while the Athenians relied on their naval superiority to conduct raids on the Peloponnesian coast. The war was marked by the plague that struck Athens, killing a significant portion of its population, including Pericles. Despite setbacks, Athens managed to sustain its war effort through its superior navy and financial resources. Peace of Nicias and renewed conflict, 421 to 413 BCE. The Peace of Nicias, signed in 421 BCE, was intended to bring a temporary halt to hostilities. However, the peace was fragile and frequently violated. The conflict resumed in earnest with the Athenian expedition to Sicily, 415 to 413 BCE, an ambitious but ill-fated attempt to conquer Syracuse. The expedition ended in disaster, with the Athenian fleet and army almost completely destroyed. Ionian or Decelean War, 413 to 404 BCE. The final phase of the war, known as the Ionian or Decelean War, saw increased Spartan involvement with Persian support. The Spartans established a permanent fort at Decele in Attica, further crippling Athens' resources. Spartan naval victories, such as the Battle of Aegospotami in 405 BCE, ultimately forced Athens to surrender in 404 BCE. The war ended with the dismantling of the Athenian Empire and the imposition of an oligarchic regime in Athens by the Spartans. Consequences of the war. The Peloponnesian War had far-reaching consequences for Greece. It marked the end of the Athenian Golden Age and severely weakened the major Greek city-states. The war's devastation left Greece vulnerable to external threats and internal strife, setting the stage for the rise of Macedon and the eventual conquest of Greece by Philip II and Alexander the Great. Philosophical advancements. The birth of Western philosophy. Classical Greece is renowned for its profound contributions to philosophy, laying the intellectual foundations for Western thought. The period saw the emergence of several influential philosophers who explored fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, ethics, and politics. Socrates, 469 to 399 BCE. Socrates, one of the most iconic figures in Western philosophy, shifted the focus of philosophical inquiry from natural phenomena to human ethics and behavior. He employed a method of questioning known as the Socratic method, which involved asking probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and illuminate underlying assumptions. Socrates did not write any philosophical works. Instead, his ideas and methods were immortalized by his student, Plato. Plato, 427 to 347 BCE. Plato, a student of Socrates, founded the Academy in Athens, one of the earliest institutions of higher learning. Plato's works, primarily written in the form of dialogues, explored a wide range of philosophical topics, including metaphysics, epistemology, ethics, and politics. In his famous work The Republic, Plato articulated his vision of an ideal state ruled by philosopher kings. He also introduced the theory of forms, positing that the material world is a shadow of a higher, unchanging reality of abstract forms. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BCE. Aristotle, a student of Plato, made significant contributions to virtually every field of knowledge, including logic, metaphysics, ethics, politics, and natural sciences. Unlike his teacher, Aristotle emphasized empirical observation and the study of the natural world. He founded the Lyceum in Athens, where he conducted extensive research and taught his students. Aristotle's works, such as Nicomachean Ethics and Politics, have had a profound and lasting impact on Western thought. Other philosophical movements. In addition to Socratic and Platonic philosophy, classical Greece saw the development of other philosophical movements. The Sophists, itinerant teachers and philosophers, were known for their rhetorical skills and relativistic views on knowledge and ethics. The Cynics, led by Diogenes of Sinope, advocated for a life in accordance with nature, rejecting conventional social values and material wealth. The Stoics, founded by Zeno of Citium, emphasized rationality and self-control as the path to achieving inner peace and virtue. Conclusion. Classical Greece was a period of extraordinary achievements in various fields, including politics, warfare, and philosophy. The establishment of democracy in Athens laid the groundwork for participatory governance and civic engagement. The Persian Wars demonstrated the resilience and unity of the Greek city-states in the face of external threats, while the Peloponnesian War highlighted the destructive potential of internal conflicts. Philosophically, the era witnessed the emergence of foundational thinkers whose ideas continue to influence contemporary thought. The legacy of classical Greece remains a cornerstone of Western civilization, inspiring generations with its enduring contributions to democratic principles, military strategy, and intellectual inquiry.